I was a student here in Paris, and it's before the days of the mobile phone. So when I would come to a museum, I would learn my favourite pictures off by heart. And this is one of my favourite pictures. So when I was 17 years old, she was my heroine. She was the girl I wanted to be. And that's a strange thing now that I, not 17 years old anymore, come back and have a look at her. So she's called a shepherdess, and she comes at the stage when Pissarro is beginning to interest himself in the human form and in the life of workers in the countryside. But for me, when I was young, she was the model of beauty, the model of femininity. It was a time when I was young when we interested ourselves also in country things. We all wore country smocks. But like Pissarro, only a few years later, I would discover anarchism and punk. I would cut my beautiful long hair off. I would stop staring in a passive and submissive way at the ground. I would have pink punk hair, and I'd look straight at the camera and try to change the world. So now I would call myself a feminist, and I would not call her a feminist. She is not someone who is comfortable, who has yet discovered confidence in her own body. She is someone who is performing. Of course, she is a model pretending to be a shepherdess. But actually, a shepherdess is a strong, independent sort of character, someone who really works, who has proper jobs to do, whereas this is a very idealized view of both a woman and a woman who works in the countryside. So for me, I feel a long way away from her now. She's not a heroine for me. I feel sorry for her. I feel that she needs to come to the theatre, read some books, get out a bit more. Discover that women can be strong and confident, have a life of her own, and not be an idealized woman created by, of course, a genius artist like Pissarro. But from the point of view of Pissarro, if we compare her with, for example, some of the working women that Degas painted, or some of the workers that Cézanne painted, there is a softness, a lack of reality, and I mean, it's a different style, of course, a sense of beauty that is not in the real world. This is not a realistic picture. This is not someone who is working. There's no sign of any work in this picture. This is a very masculine view of what a young woman working in the countryside might look like. Let's be honest. So this is not, of course, appropriate to criticize Pissarro, or indeed in a way it's unfair to criticize her. I mean, what does she know about the look, about confidence, about feminism? Nothing. But of course, for me, the 17-year-old, I can criticize her because she should have known a little bit better, even when she was 17. I now feel that the young Ruth Mackenzie really could have chosen a stronger, more radical, more interesting heroine to model herself on. But like Pissarro, I grew. So I discovered that politics, in fact, was going to be a driving force in my life. I discovered that I wanted to change the world, and that the punks, which is, I think, a pretty close equivalent to the anarchists, could provide me with an energy, with a focus to my political thinking. So she went out of the window and the punk Ruth Mackenzie arrived. It's very interesting when you discover your earlier self again. And so for me, the pictures that I learnt when I was here as a student, they're like family and friends. So you change, you grow apart, you haven't seen them for a long time. I really don't believe I have seen this picture since I was a student. But of course, I have the same feeling of love for her that I had when I was 17, because even though I'm no longer that 17-year-old, I still have the same memory and the same emotions. So I am actually, I have to confess, very happy to see her again, and I will try to visit her more frequently.
La nature est un temple où de vivants piliers laissent parfois sortir de confuses paroles. L'homme y passe à travers des forêts de symboles qui l'observent avec des regards familiers, comme de longs échos qui de loin se confondent dans une ténébreuse et profonde unité, vaste comme la nuit et comme la clarté. Les parfums, les couleurs et les sons se répondent. Il est des parfums frais comme des chairs d'enfants, doux comme les hautbois verts, comme les prairies, et d'autres, corrompus, riches et triomphants, ayant l'expansion des choses infinies, comme l'ambre, le musc, le benjoin et l'encens qui chantent les transports de l'esprit et des sens.